Hey, and welcome. At Rapid Flow, we do everything we can to make you faster in the studio. Today is a big day. A lot of you have been asking us about this. We are releasing the Midside mastering chain that we have done in collaboration with Earthbound Mastering. This is available for Ableton, Bitwig, FL Studio, and Logic. I'm going to be showing it to you on Ableton today. So let's have a look. Let me take you over to my DAW. So this is a track that's in production. This is the rough sound coming off of our Infinity bundle. It's something that I've been working on some live streams recently. And let me show you where I can take this track from a loudness and presence and punch just with the use of a couple of macro controls that Daniel has set up from Earthbound Mastering. At minus 5.5 loads, and it still sounds good. Alright, so I do not recommend you master your tracks this loud unless, I guess, your music style calls for it. Let me show you how to use this a little bit more judiciously. It's incredible, actually, even for me now listening to it, that you can get this loud without it sounding like a complete, awful mess. So, what's going on in this mastering chain? The way that this works in principle is that it's set up in Midside mode. And if this is something new to you, it was to me also for many years. I actually only got in depth with this watching Daniel Zoderberg from Earthbound Mastering work. It's a different way of processing your signals. Rather than process them left-right on your mastering, which is what we usually do, you process them mid-side, meaning the mono parts of your track get processed a certain way and the side parts get processed a different way. And this has many, many advantages, and it's actually how Daniel masters music with a heap of analog gear. Let me show you what his studio looks like, actually. I met him through coincidence. He mastered a track for me, and when he sent it back to me, my jaw dropped. I was like, whoa, and I reached out to him and I had to learn more. So he does mastering in Midside in his studio with all kinds of analog outboard. There's Daniel, there you see him. Daniel, huge thanks to you for making this, and actually for making this knowledge and this sound available to people worldwide now through our mastering chain, because I don't think many other mastering engineers would have done that. Here you can just see some of his releases. He's a specialist in electronic music, but he also does like more heavy type music. And yeah, he's been at this for decades, and his room actually is one of the most perfect rooms in Europe. It's amazing. It's been designed, of course, from the ground up to, work for mastering. And how I actually got to know him is because I asked him to validate the settings in the Infinity bundle, because I wanted to be 100% sure that, it was the very best it could be. And he said, yeah, dude, it sounds great. There's nothing to do, but why don't I make a mastering chain for you that maybe we can get a little bit more out of it? And I was like, yeah, amazing. So that's what he did, and that's what I'm showing you today. So let me show you back to the mastering chain. For example, what's happening in Midside. You see this macro here called More Highs. If you look closely on the EQ, and I've just in this moment realized I should launch my cursor highlighter, you see there's a difference between the white and the blue line. That's because in this case, for example, the mids and the highs are being boosted with a different amount in the mids and the sides, and this leads to your track getting wider, but only in the highs. So it's not affecting like phase coherency and stuff in your lows. Let me show you what it sounds like. He has all kinds of other really cool tricks in here. Like he has a way of doing the low end, which is this boom here. Let me show you what that sounds like. Let me just leave the highs in there so we have a good balance. You see it's like boosted boosting and cutting frequencies at the same time. And in essence, what it's doing, it's cleaning up mud, it's cleaning up extreme low end, and just boosting the frequencies that you really need for a punchy, loud dance track on a PA, a club system, festival system. And then there's this body control, which is also something super cool, which is again in Midside and does something special to sort of the low mids, so that your track just gets kind of like more presence and punch, but without it getting too muddy. Have a listen. Then there's the clipper, and what this does is it adds additional mids and sort of bite and presence to get your track louder and get the mids more up front, which is usually a problem. Like getting the lows and the highs is not hard, but getting the mids loud is usually tricky, and this does it really elegantly. Let me show you. Something new now. I'm just going to minimize some of these so I can show you things better, and we're actually still at an insanely loud level. I'm realizing, let me take this down just a little bit, just so that we're not blasting this so incredibly loud. There is also now 2 bus compressors. There's 2 variations. The original one that I made, and then he made a new one which works kind of cleaner. It's more like for pop and R&B. And with this compressor style macro, you can fade between them, the wet dry. Let me show you. But now we're listening to the pop bus and that's like more the techno pumping oriented one. Master is still ridiculously loud. I'm sorry, just gonna try to take this down a little bit, like maybe around -8, let's say -7 max. So we have those. There is of course an OTT in there, which is like I'm using it more like a multi-band EQ to just again bring mids and highs up front. And then something really cool that Daniel added for the Ableton version of this is a listening tool with which you can listen to your track in specific ways. So let me show you, it's at the back here. Basically I can solo the sides, so the stereo information of a signal, or the mids. Have a listen. That's basically everything that's wide on your track. And that's the mids, everything that's mono, kick, bass, snare, stuff like that. Then he's done a low end focus to check your low end, and this is really cool if you're also running references through it, so you can A/B the low end of your reference against yours. Just really zone into what's happening in your low end. The same with the high end to check if your highs are sharp. And then there's a so-called bad speaker check, which is just your mids. A really useful tool also while you're mixing. If you can get your mids, everything to be coherent, loud and punchy, everything else will just fall into place. So don't underestimate this tool. And actually it's like good also to know what your music will sound like, for example, in a phone speaker. Have a listen. And again, if my phone speaker had that much bass, I'd be pretty happy. You can get an idea of what it'll sound like on like a Bluetooth speaker or something like that, right? So something that doesn't have a lot of lows and mids. So yeah, super useful tool that's also included. Only with the Ableton version, we weren't able to recreate this in the other DAWs. Sorry about that. But anyway, the main thing here is the mastering chain. So for those of you that already own the Infinity Bundle or some other Rapid Flow product, let me show you the difference to the original mastering chain, just so that you can A/B also if it's worth it for you, and I think it is. course, the original Rapid Flow mastering chain. I mean, it's good. I worked with it. I played live with it for a number of years, and a lot of people have been using it, but Daniel really did show us why. He's a dedicated mastering engineer. Let's do one more A/B comparison. How far we can push this before it falls apart. So this metering is, by the way, set to Spotify loud. So if it's red, it's already really, really loud. So yeah, we're sort of heading towards the -6 LUFS, even sometimes going a little bit beyond it, which is insanely loud. And honestly, I would suggest you to aim for like -8, -7. It's enough. Anything beyond that, it just becomes, in my opinion, too loud. You can get there, and as you can hear, if your track is built up correctly, you can get there almost without distortion, or with a distortion that doesn't feel horrible. Like I'm sure the track is saturating like hell here, but it still sounds okay. It doesn't feel like a mess, which is, yeah, it's even mind-boggling for me. So you can get this on rapidflow.shop. We're going to have a launch sale on it for this weekend, and this weekend only. You're going to be able to get it a little bit cheaper. And yeah, I'm sorry to people that already have Rapid Flow products that we're not offering this as just kind of an upgrade, a freebie, because we worked on this actually for months till we got it really to this point. And yeah, and Daniel's time is not cheap either. So, you know, if you want quality, you usually get what you pay for. So having said that, this is going to be extremely fairly priced. If you've ever had someone master your music, you know the going rate is somewhere between 50 to 100 euros a track, and you're going to be able to get this substantially cheaper. So yeah, have the access to the mastering knowledge of someone that's been mastering for decades in a perfect room. It's actually kind of priceless. I'm really happy to share this with you. I'm really happy to use this myself on my music and my live sets. And a huge thank you to Daniel from Earthbound Mastering. I honestly don't think many mastering engineers would make their knowledge and their techniques so easily available for other people. Daniel, you're a star. You're going to enable so many other people to get loud tracks, loud, clean tracks this way. It's very cool of you. If you want an analog mastering, like if you want the incredible sound Daniel is able to do in his studio, book him for a session. He'll work on your track until it's perfect. It blew me away what he was able to do with one of my tracks. I'll put a link to that track also in the description of this video. I'll put a link to his mastering website, and of course to our store where you can check out this product. It's available as soon as this video is online. And yeah, that's it for me today. Very happy to share this with you. I hope that this inspires you, that it gets you great results. I hope you have a fantastic time in the studio, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.